Hola clase, this week's a unique week. It is midterm week, so I thought I would do a video to talk to you about the midterm, how to prepare for the midterm, what's going to be on the midterm, all that sort of stuff. So in addition to the midterm this week, you do have a few other assignments, so make sure that you are checking Moodle about those. So yeah, do not forget to be looking at Moodle every week, including this week. Okay, so what I want to do is, and you might be like, well, why does she have My Spanish Lab up here? It's because I want to show you a couple of things. And these things have to do with practicing for the midterm, studying for the midterm, whatever you want to call it. So this is what yours typically looks like, right? Because here I am, student. And what I want you to do to practice is go to Course Materials. You're going to click on View All Course Materials. Because I know most of you will just go to the assignments and start working on your regular assigned assignments. And that's great. You know, you want to go to the assignment calendar and complete your midterm, but probably you want to practice some before that. None of these activities that I'm showing you here are required, but they're really great for review. So these are the two chapters that are going to be covered on the midterm, Capítulo Preliminar and Capítulo Uno. So I'm just going to click on Capítulo Preliminar to start with. And going into Capítulo Uno is the same way. So on both of these, you will have these three options. On every single chapter, for this textbook, you have these three options. Student Activities Manual, which is where most of the activities you are completing for your grade are located. The Learning Tools, Apps, and Games, and Video Resources. So I actually want you to go to Learning Tools, Apps, and Games. And there are a few things here that are great. And I'm mainly going to focus on a few things up here. But I want to show you some extra stuff. There are flashcards if you want to play around with those, and here are some games. We also have a practice test with a study plan. This in no way mimics the regular test, but it will help you kind of see some of the areas that you might be having difficulty with. So it does create a study plan for you as well. Let's talk about the activity options you have to help you study. So we're going to look at the vocabulary learning tools first. And especially in this very first, the Capítulo Preliminar, there are a lot of vocabulary tutorials here. And I am just going to click on, let's do this one, En el Aula. Okay, so that you can kind of see what one of these vocabulary tutorials looks like. If you want to do these again, oops, there we go. I feel like the grammar ones might be a little more helpful, but these are helpful too. So basically what we do with this is, what do you see below? Click the photo to hear the Spanish pronunciation and see how it's written. So we've got our arrows here, right? And you're just going to type in what you think that this is in Español, okay? And you're able to check that and do that. Okay, and that's pretty much the way all of these video tutorials work. So if you want to do that, you can do those. But as I said, most people really prefer the grammar learning tools because that's usually what people have difficulty with. Are the grammar concepts. There, again, we had quite a few grammar concepts here. So if you maybe would like a different review or explanation, I guess you could say, for each one of these grammar points, then you'll notice that there are several grammar tutorials. So we've got estar, ser, days of the week, numbers, all sorts of stuff. And you'll notice all of these activities here, they're extra practice. I'm just going to click on this one that happens to be for the months. And if you click on it, it looks pretty much like the activities you've been completing. prior to this, right? You can save them for later, you can finish and submit for grading, and you can complete these as many times as you would like. These do not count against you. Any activity that is not assigned, you're not going to get a grade for. So it doesn't matter, you know, oops. It doesn't really matter how well or how poorly you do on them. It will not affect your grade. So play around in here to your heart's content. These are some great activities. The other section I'd like to show you is this last section. And it doesn't really matter which amplifier one that you click on, because both of them go to the same spot. And it's actually the same for every single chapter. It may take a little while to load. When I was playing around with it earlier, it was taking a while. So here are your 2 chapters, right, that you're working on. I'm just going to click Capítulo 1 so that you get something a little different. And here you have your vocabulario en contexto and your gramática en contexto, right? So what you do, you start one of these. It gives you an idea of how long it's going to take. And I really like these. Well, if it's going to work. But basically, it adapts. So complete the following sentence with the most appropriate answer, right? En mi clase de geografía estudio mucho y saco malas notas. Es una clase, I don't know, difícil is what we're going to go with. So it talks to you. Click twice if you're sure, you're unsure, right? And if you don't know yet. And be honest about this, because it's sort of adaptive. So I'm going to say I'm unsure. So I'm going to continue with that. Submit. You were unsure and correct. Next question, right? And it just kind of keeps on going. So just be honest with this, because again, it's not really, it's not for a grade. It's just for practice for you, and it is adaptive. So it doesn't matter which chapter you're on. It will go, like I said, to that area where you can do vocab and grammar and do it for any chapter from the textbook. So those are some of the activities that you can do. Okay, so what I suggest for the midterm, people kind of want to know what's on it and that sort of thing. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I'm taking a look at my notes. I hope I'm not, scratching things where the audio is bad, but if I am, I apologize. So what I suggest you do is actually be prepared prior to the midterm before taking it. I do realize that students will, you know, use their books and stuff like that. I'm not totally clueless, but if you're one of those people that has to use your book for everything, you might find yourself in some serious trouble, because if you're using like a long period of time, and this is a very long test, I usually think of it as if you have to have an exam period. Some schools offer those, you know, where you would have like 2 to 3 hours set aside and kind of estimate that. But I've had students that will try to complete this for long periods of time, and I guess they're looking up everything. It's taking them a lot longer, and guess what? It logs them out because there's no activity really within the system. So just be prepared. Also, make sure that you're using Google Chrome and that everything is updated prior to starting the test. If you've been avoiding doing anything audio related, or you've had problems with your audio, you need to make sure that that is fixed prior to taking the midterm. Do not wait till the day before to get that fixed. Contact technical support on Monday, right, of this week, because for me that is not an acceptable excuse. If you haven't been doing your work and you've been having these issues, you know, you've had several weeks to get that addressed. So if for some reason there is a technical issue with everybody's, and I do not foresee that, then you know, of course, I would take care of that. That you know, that would not affect everybody's grade if it's a technical issue on my end. However, Like I said, if it's something you've been struggling with, contact Pearson Technical Support. The AB Tech support cannot help you with this. You have to contact them. And, you know, here's a support button. There's an 800 number. There is information on the syllabus on how to contact them. So make sure you do that. You have one attempt for this test, and you cannot save the test. So make sure that you have enough time allotted and are ready to complete the test once you sit down and do it. So make sure that you are sitting there and completing it. If you accidentally X off of it, you walk away, it logs you out. That's it. That's the grade that you get. So be careful with this. Again, like I said, chapter preliminar and uno are what is going to be on the midterm. Those are the two chapters on the midterm. These activities that you're going to find on there, of course, it's going to be that listening comprehension like you've had before. So some listening activities, matching, multiple choice, fill in the blank, things just like the activities that you've had prior, but just in a larger test-like format. You will not have anything where you're having to record your voice or record a response, and you won't have anything that is any like large paragraph writing or anything like that. It is possible you might have a little sentence here and there, but mainly matching, multiple choice, fill in the blank. Okay, so clase, again, make sure you're ready to take the midterm when you sit down to take it. And also don't forget the other activities that you need to complete that are found on Moodle. Make sure you study hard for this, guys. I wish you all luck. And as always, if you have questions, please contact me. Make sure you contact me prior to taking the exam. Don't contact me afterwards like, oh, I never really understood AR verbs. Well, you just took the midterm. You know, it's something that you need to contact me about prior. And I'll be happy even if I have to do virtual office hours. I'm okay with that. So just let me know. That's what I'm here for, guys. So hasta luego.